Ladies and gentlemen, we now have a special presentation on image building in the gold business. And to make this presentation, it's my privilege and pleasure to invite on stage Mr. Rajesh Khosla, Chairman Emeritus, MMTC PAMP India Private Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rajesh Khosla. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon. This is towards the end of the session, and I've been told to try and make it short. So let me see what I can do. Image building in gold business. So does that mean that there's a problem with gold's image? So let's go back into history a bit. I'll take you back to the Gold Control Act of 1962. What happened? The net effect was it killed the official gold market. Trade moved to smuggled gold. A black market for gold developed, and gold unfortunately got associated with black money and corruption. You know, ये सोने की चिड़िया की थोड़ी रौनक हट गई. However, gold is critical. There's potential. We all know that jewelry provides security to women, and because of a huge demand for jewelry, it's a huge employer, and therefore employment is important in a country like India. That's the flip side. The opposite is India doesn't produce gold domestically. Therefore, you need to import. And when you need to import, there's always a foreign exchange outgo. That creates a problem for government. Also, significantly, we just saw, but 70% of gold jewelry is in the informal sector. And the informal sector, tax evasion, you could say high incidence of customs duty, therefore tax evasion. And government is clear, gold is a money spinner. I'm going to generate revenue out of gold. Therefore, I'm not going to reduce the tax on it. Progressively, government understood gold. In 1990, it repealed the Gold Control Act. And then, of course, we had some hiccup in 13-14, the 2080 scheme. Finally, the finance minister, and full marks to him, in 15-16 budget, he made some announcements. Then we had the Niti Aayog report. And then in the latest budget, he said, I'm going to do 3 things. We all know what they are, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that because 15 minutes. So when you look at what should be gold from an image perspective, don't look at a pro-gold or a pro-gold business policy. The image of gold has to be way beyond these 2 factors. So what is important for India? What is important for India? Trust, credibility, quality, and conformity. Now, regrettably, all we talk about when we talk about these 4 things is we talk about jewelers. But that, to my mind, is incorrect. There is a gold value chain. It starts from the people who refine gold. It starts from the people who sell gold. Finally, the people who convert gold into the end product. Therefore, when you look at restoring the image of gold, it's not fair to stop just at jewelry. You've got to look at the role of different players in this value chain. You've got to see how all of them can, in one form or the other, contribute to the image building exercise. I want to define 5 principles that will apply to any image building exercise, be it gold or be it anything else, but specifically gold. Gold today accounts for a current account deficit. So gold of tomorrow, make it an economic powerhouse. How to do it? We will debate. Gold today is smuggling, tax avoidance. Gold of tomorrow, engage with tax more efficiently. Gold of today, primarily physical form. We've seen some experiments with the sovereign gold bond. We've been talking about digital and paper gold. And the key to it is, how can I provide a simple, hassle-free experience to a customer who wants to buy gold. There's no financial inclusion for gold today. Gold of tomorrow needs to be integrated with the financial system. There's been a lot of debate on that also. When you look at the industry, basically unorganized sector, poorly trained resources, leakage, low quality. What do you want it to be? You want it to recognize the gold standard. You want it to address consistency in alloying, consistency in use of solders. You want better assaying competence. You want traceability. You want everything that you get when you buy outside of India, and you want to see that within India. The problem is that in India we discuss problems. We don't discuss opportunities. We don't discuss people attempting the impossible. Industry sees what it does not have, and it's always saying government is going to hold my hand and then I will become all right. The reality is no government is going to hold your hand. They're interested in other things. They have many other problems to manage. Hence, you will have to do it yourself. So what is it that you can do yourself without having to depend upon government, without saying, I have a problem? Let's look at opportunities and let's see what we need to do. We talk about current account deficit. So clearly the answer is, how can I increase value addition on exports of gold jewelry? The more value addition I get on export of gold jewelry, the greater is the foreign exchange inflow into the country. But more importantly, then you have a case to go to government and say, see, I've increased the value addition, I've reduced your pain, now I need the following help. But if you only go to government and say, I need help, 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 that's one-way traffic and that's not going to work. You need to enhance tax compliance, and this is where I believe associations play a major role. When we saw GST introduced into the country, all associations, be it IBJA, be it the Gem and Jewelry Federation, they had a sustained campaign. They reached out to their members, they explained to them what was GST, what were the nuances of GST. They went to government and they said, you know, set this right, set this right. It's now 2 years. And I have to say that I see that passion going down drastically. I don't see the same degree of involvement of associations in educating the unorganized sector. The organized sector is educated by itself and it knows how to manage GST. The unorganized sector needs a lot more help. And therefore I would urge associations, please get your act together. Please get back to explaining to the unorganized sector how you can manage and engage with tax more efficiently, instead of saying, what can I do? You know, the guy's using smuggled gold, and therefore there's not much I can do. We've seen that paper gold and digital gold is the gold of tomorrow. From a jeweler's perspective, at the end of the day, the guy who's got digital gold ultimately wants to go to the jeweler and give it to him and convert it into jewelry. I don't think it's enough for jewelers to wait for the consumer to say so. I would like to see jewelers engaging with the provenance of digital gold. I would like to see jewelers going to them and saying, listen, we understand what you're doing. We know you're substituting physical gold for this. We know our customer of tomorrow is going to come and give me metal transfer. Therefore, please explain to me how this happens. How can I help you out? How can I help you push digital gold? Because at the end of the day, digital gold is going to come back to me, the jeweler, rather than the physical. The limited inclusion, financial inclusion today is you pledge gold jewelry as collateral and you get a rupee loan against it. Number of NBFCs are doing this. At times there is loan repayment default. When there's loan repayment default, you're supposed to associations. Nothing stops you from setting up assaying and hallmarking centers. Nothing stops you for setting up state-of-the-art assaying and hallmarking centers. If the IBJA is going to say, I'm doing a jewelry outlet which says this is an IBJA jewelry outlet, then the IBJA needs to stick his neck out and say, you know, I have an assay and hallmarking center. I've collaborated with the Birmingham Assay Office or whichever one it is. This is the best quality of assay. I'm sticking my neck out that when it's assayed and hallmarked from the center, IBJA is responsible. Nothing stops you from doing it. You don't do it is a different matter altogether. Now, fortunately, you have an institute which will train assayers. Therefore, the excuse ki main kahan se assayer dhoondunga, all that is gone. So, in short, you know, I'm addressing captains of industry. I'm not addressing guys on the road. And the simple message to you is, if you're not attempting the impossible, how will the possible happen? To make the possible happen, you must attempt the impossible. You have to inspire. You can't say, I'm only managing. That's not good enough. You need to inspire. When you look at life with the lens of what you can do, I promise you, you will win. If you look at life with the lens of what you can't do, you will lose. It's your call which way you want to look at it. But if you want to get out of the shadow of the Gold Control Act, if you want to get out of the association with smuggling and tax avoidance and so on and so forth, it's very simple. Just think impossible. Thank you.
Hello, check. Thank you very much, Mr. Rajesh Khosla. I'll request Mr. Khosla to kindly receive a small token of appreciation and gratitude from Mr. Matadin Soni. Could we have Mr. Matadin Soni on stage to present the memento to Mr. Rajesh Soni? To Mr. Rajesh Khosla, please. Okay, could we have Mr. Praful Ranawat on stage to do the honors? Mr. Praful Ranawat. Okay, we've got Mr. Surinder Mehta to do the honors. Thank you, Mr. Khosla. Thank you, Mr. Mehta.
Associations, nothing stops you from setting up assaying and hallmarking centers. Nothing stops you for setting up state-of-the-art assaying and hallmarking centers. If the IBJA is going to say, I'm doing a jewelry outlet which says this is an IBJA jewelry outlet, then the IBJA needs to stick his neck out and say, you know, I have an assay and hallmarking center. I've collaborated with the Birmingham Assay Office or whichever one it is. This is the best quality of assay. I'm sticking my neck out that when it's assayed and hallmarked from the center, IBJA is responsible. Nothing stops you from doing it. You don't do it is a different matter altogether. Now, fortunately, you have an institute which will train assayers. Therefore, the excuse ki main kahan se assayer dhoondunga, all that is gone. So, in short, you know, I'm addressing captains of industry. I'm not addressing guys on the road. And the simple message to you is, if you're not attempting the impossible, how will the possible happen? To make the possible happen, you must attempt the impossible. You have to inspire. You can't say, I'm only managing. That's not good enough. You need to inspire. When you look at life with the lens of what you can do, I promise you, you will win. If you look at life with the lens of what you can't do, you will lose. It's your call which way you want to look at it. But if you want to get out of the shadow of the Gold Control Act, if you want to get out of the association with smuggling and tax avoidance and so on and so forth, it's very simple. Just think impossible. Thank you.
Hello, check. Thank you very much, Mr. Rajesh Khosla. I'll request Mr. Khosla to kindly receive a small token of appreciation and gratitude from Mr. Matadin Soni. Could we have Mr. Matadin Soni on stage to present the memento to Mr. Rajesh Soni? To Mr. Rajesh Khosla, please. Okay, could we have Mr. Praful Ranawat on stage to do the honors? Mr. Praful Ranawat. Okay, we've got Mr. Surinder Mehta to do the honors. Thank you, Mr. Khosla. Thank you, Mr. Mehta.